afternoon, breaking news, a car fire in Virginia.
The 405 freeway.
And I'm Parker, let's get straight to Rich. Brick it overhead in Sky 5. The findings are part of the
They were attacked by squirrels.
I need a healthy alternative to all this noise and chaos. I have an idea. If you're anything like me and have been moving away from the noise of the online world, but still need to replace one habit with, hopefully, a more productive one, I have an idea for you. It's the concept of lifelong learning. For fun. Just for fun. In this video, I'll talk about the health benefits for lifelong learning and my personal fall curriculum, and how you can create your own seasonal, monthly, or yearly curriculum or lifelong learning path. I'm not sure about you, but I've always loved that back-to-school time of year. A fresh pack of No. 2 pencils and a stash of new notebooks, new threads from the department store, and that sense of giddy anticipation that I was going to have the best year ever. But what if you're like me and you've long since graduated and now you're a fully functioning adult with adult responsibilities? Boring adult responsibility. Wouldn't it be fun, though, to find a way to not only change perspective on the things that you do on a daily basis, but actually make it kind of fun? Like a way to gamify adulthood. Well, there is, in the form of lifelong learning. Lifelong learning isn't just about going to a YouTube video when your sink is clogged to figure out how to fix it, but more of a deep pursuit of knowledge on a subject or subjects just because you can and it's fun. It's the learning you didn't get to do when you were actually in school for the most part because you had to follow a certain curriculum set forth by the school or your major in college. You've probably already had one or two things you do already that's considered lifelong learning, like taking a piano lesson as an adult or joining a sports league, or maybe taking a bartending class because you want to host a party and be an awesome mixologist. I don't have TikTok, but I watch enough videos of people who have it, so I learn about many of the trends that way. And one of my favorite trends that has come out fairly recently is creating a personal curriculum. Right now, there are a lot of fall-specific personal curriculums, and that's the one I'll be talking about today since that's the one I have created for myself, but there is no right or wrong way to do one.
Hello, it's Ruby, and in today's video, I am going to be setting up my personal curriculum for the new year.
I first heard about creating a personal curriculum through Ruby Granger and Alice Bow, and I will link those videos below, but it is widely credited to be started by Elizabeth Jean on TikTok. What's a personal curriculum? Well, it's sort of like goals, but you can set up a structured learning path about any subject or subjects you are interested in. My goal was to gamify everything I was doing on a daily basis to give it a collegiate vibe and just give me a new perspective to my daily life. And then I gave it a fancy name with its own course description that I set up in Notion. For instance, I have one learning path called Thrive, Foundations of Mind-Body Wellness, which is essentially my workouts. My course description reads, "This course provides an integrated approach to mind-body wellness, combining structured physical exercise, nutritional awareness, and practices to enhance mental and emotional well-being. Students will follow a personal fitness routine, engage with strength building and restorative exercises, and implement strategies for mindful living and balanced nutrition. Emphasis is placed on fostering sustainable habits, body awareness, and self-care practices to support both physical performance and mental clarity. Overkill? Maybe, but fun? Yes. I've also included some courses that are related to the work I do as a video editor and one for my finances. But others are learning paths I'm genuinely curious about, like one I have called Foundations of Performance, Tap Dance, Singing, and Music Literacy. This intermediate level course develops core skills in tap dance, vocal performance, and music literacy. Students will refine tap technique in preparation for a winter showcase, undertake individual singing lessons to expand vocal range and expression, and study the fundamentals of reading musical notation. Emphasis is placed on integrating rhythm, movement, and voice, supported by the technical knowledge to engage more fully with musical performance. The basics are, I'm just continuing to take tap dance weekly with our winter show performance in December, and I've been taking singing lessons, which is something I've been wanting to do for a long time.
Come on, babe, why don't we paint the town?
And it is much harder than I thought. I am completely humbled. I also have a link to a music theory class I can take on Skillshare. Another learning path I have for myself is Queens in Conflict, Power and Politics in 16th Century Britain. I created a spreadsheet with links to a bunch of YouTube biographies I want to watch on Henry VIII, Queen Elizabeth I, and Mary, Queen of Scots. I've been interested in this particular part of history for quite a while, which is partly why I went to Scotland last year. And the more I learn about that time period, the more of a rabbit hole I want to go down. I find it absolutely fascinating and how similar so many things are today with our current political climate, some 500 years later. I also have a category called English Lit, which is pretty much my fall reading list. As of writing this, I just finished Where Sleeping Girls Lie, which is like dark academia meets mystery. I really enjoyed it, and it was a big page-turner for me. I also started listening to Catabasis on audiobook, but I'm finding when it comes to fiction, I don't really like listening as much as reading. So I might buy that book instead. I also read Wayward, which is a witchy historical fiction book. I also really enjoyed that. And The Spell Shop, which was cute and cozy, but I kind of felt a little bored reading that one. Another cute and cozy read was The Next Chapter Bookshop. It's what I expected, just a very light and cozy read. Some of my other picks for my fall TBR include Haunting Adeline, The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, and The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, plus Catabasis if I buy the physical book. I also want to give a shout out to the book Atmosphere, which my friend Amy recommended to me, which I technically read in the summer, but it was really good. Very rarely does an ending to a book make me cry, but this one did just that. If you guys have any recommendations for me, leave them in the comments below. In addition, I've also added some fun extras to my personal curriculum like Cooking Club, which is really just me experimenting with new recipes, and Tuesday Night Movie Club, a tradition started by my friend Kim, where a group of us catch $8 films at the theater. The last movie we saw was Twinless, and I highly recommend it. Lately, I've also gone down a rabbit hole watching videos on the origins of Halloween, or Samhain. Samhain is an ancient Celtic festival celebrated from October 31st to November 1st and has such fascinating traditions. And it's wild to see how, almost like a game of telephone, it gradually transformed into the Halloween we know today. The whole point of this exercise or this idea is that it's supposed to be fun. It puts you in an academic state of mind that brings learning to life in a different kind of way. There are no grades or pressure to complete anything if you don't want. It's just a different perspective on things you already do, or a structured learning path to things that you are genuinely interested in. You can set up your curriculum in a Notion template, which is what I do, in your notes app on your computer, or just with pen and paper. There are no rules, so don't worry about the perfect curation of things and just start however you like. Now let's move on to part 2 of this video and why it's so important to continue learning. The first thing, and this is purely my unscientific opinion, is that having hobbies and things you're actively learning, whether it's watching documentaries, biographies, learning on platforms such as Skillshare, Udemy, Coursera, edX, and YouTube, books or blogs, is way more rewarding than scrolling social media or zoning out in front of your TV. And that's coming from someone who genuinely loves movies and TV. Many of these activities are outside of the house, like tap dancing, singing, and when I used to play beach volleyball. And they get you into the flow state, or the zone. That's a state where a person is completely engrossed in the task at hand to the point that external concerns, distractions, and even physical needs are temporarily forgotten, and that the experience is intrinsically motivating and rewarding, and that the experience is enjoyable for its own sake, not for external rewards. Being in the flow state as much as possible is a key to happiness. The important thing is to find activities that challenge you, but not so much that they completely overwhelm you. For me, that sweet spot shows up in tap dancing and singing. Both are tough, sometimes painfully so, but they still feel doable. I'm actually progressing, albeit slowly, but when I'm in the middle of it, I forget the outside world and all of my endless adult responsibilities. I get a similar feeling in my mat Pilates class. Do I love it? Not really, but there's this fun camaraderie with my fellow gym goers, a kind of we're all in this together energy that keeps me coming back. Plus, I always feel great once it's over. Now yes, you can mentally escape by watching TV or a movie, but that's a very passive kind of escape. You're not really learning anything except that all the Mormon wives are crazy, not that I watch or anything. Learning something new, though, can spark real connections. Book clubs, classes, sports leagues, all of these are great ways to make friends in real life. there are also huge cognitive benefits to lifelong learning. According to Scientific American, in most adults, learning and thinking plateau, then begin to decline after age 30 or 40. People start to perform worse in tests of cognitive abilities such as processing speed, the rate at which someone does a mental task. The slide becomes steeper after 60 years of age. That's why challenging our minds is so important as we age. We've got to create some new neural pathways if we want to stay sharp. Crosswords, games, puzzles, anything that makes your brain work. I even downloaded an app that gamifies vocabulary as a way to do something productive instead of automatically opening social media on my phone. Dance, especially tap, is another great brain workout. You have to remember patterns, rhythms, and choreography, all of which keep your mind firing. But here's the trick. It has to be fun for you. If it's not, you won't stick with it. Another bonus of lifelong learning is that it helps you stay open-minded. I've noticed that a lot of people my age, and definitely in my parents' generation, become more rigid and closed off as they get older. But we're already living in such a divisive time, and learning gives you new perspectives and information that can shift how you see the world. For example, I never imagined I would be fascinated by 16th century England, but now I can't get enough. Learning that history has even enriched my travels. Suddenly, the places I visit feel alive with meaning now that I know their history. And sure, you could get by only speaking English in France, but wouldn't it be more fun to learn a little of the language so you can actually use it while you're there? It gives you a goal and makes the time before your trip just as exciting as the travel itself. So that's my take on lifelong learning, and honestly, it's been a game changer for me. It makes every day feel a little bit more adventurous, a little more playful, and a whole lot more meaningful. The best part? There are no rules. Your curriculum can be as structured or as silly as you want it to be. It can be books, classes, hobbies, sports, or even rabbit holes on YouTube. What matters is that it lights you up, challenges you just enough, and reminds you that learning doesn't stop when school ends. So if you've been feeling stuck in the noise and the chaos of the online world, maybe it's time to close a laptop, pick up a notebook or a pair of tap shoes, and start your own personal curriculum. Because at the end of the day, the best kind of education is the one you give yourself. Class dismissed.